Hey internets, first off I'd just like to wish you all a Merry Christmas. Today's video is really just going to be some frequently asked questions as well as going over the wins of the year, because there's been a lot of good stuff that's actually happened this year. But I'll start with the fact to get that out of the way. And the first one is kind of an important one. What happened to Discord? Yeah, one of the mods went rogue and banned everybody. But it's okay, we permanently physically removed him and restored the Discord. And plus we've also taken some steps and increased the hierarchy of the server to prevent this from happening again. However, the link is different. And because of that, I think some people are having trouble getting in because you might still be using the old link, and I personally just haven't had the time or energy to go through every single one of my videos and change it, but it is updated in some of the newer videos, and the link inside the link tree is correct. If you click on my link tree link, it's one of the links inside my channel description, and it's also in the description of, I believe, most of my videos, as well as this one, and really it's just linktr.ee/mentiswave. If you go there and scroll past the content and merch and support me section, there is the community section. There's Discord. You click on that one right there. That invite link is going to be correct. And speaking of people getting banned from Discord, that goes to the next question. I got banned from Discord, therefore you are a hypocrite in regards to your criticism is not harassment video. Okay, now, first of all, if you got banned from Discord recently, there's a pretty good chance that you just got banned with Ford's little tantrum that he threw. There's a good chance you didn't get legitimately banned. So again, just follow the Discord link in the link tree and go back in. Most of you are probably fine. But second of all, for the few people who aren't fine and actually did do something to piss off a mod. Well, first of all, pissing off a mod doesn't mean that I personally think that you're harassing me. I'm not sure where people are getting that weird leap in logic there. In fact, I probably don't even know why you got banned, aside from pissing off mods or breaking TOS or something. And if you think that somehow contradicts the previous video, I think that shows that a lot of people didn't really quite get the point of my last video. I wasn't saying that, yes, you do in fact have to respond to every single little piece of criticism you get. That is not the part of what Innuendo Studios was saying that I was refuting. In fact, on that note, he's actually correct. If you do put out something on the internet and it goes viral and you're getting tens and thousands of replies, I mean, you can't respond or even read all of that stuff in any reasonable amount of time. The problem isn't so much not responding to every little thing. The problem is when you equate the fact that you're getting a whole bunch of responses like that to some kind of bizarre conspiracy, gang stalker, harassment campaign where your critics are meeting behind closed doors going, we are going to mass reply to this person to delegitimize his authority and make him feel bad and bad stuff. No, that's ridiculous. You can't assume that everybody who disagrees with you is part of some kind of harassment campaign against you. That's what that video was about. And more specifically, how that kind of ties into the problem of care-harm morality that a lot of neo-Marxists tend to follow. Because it shows how under that kind of meta-ethical system, anybody can claim to be a victim of anybody else, and your reason doesn't actually need to make any sense. Which is a problem because people can just easily contradict each other's claims. Two people can claim victim status against each other for completely contradictory reasons, and under care-harm morality, you're forced to take that kind of nonsense seriously. And I was just kind of pointing out how the criticism equals harassment grift is just kind of part of the logical conclusions of how stupid that kind of reasoning is. But yeah, there's hundreds of other reasons you can get banned from Discord. In fact, if you believe that the only possible reason you can get banned from a Discord is because the owner thinks you're harassing him, ironically, you're actually guilty of the same black and white false reasoning that is behind the criticism equals harassment grift. But hopefully for the sake of the people who asked this question, most of you just got banned in the massive ban wave due to the mod drama that happened, and the other people are just a case of misunderstanding the point of my last video. Not a big deal, just try to rejoin. And be less cringe next time. Very good way to not get banned, is be less cringe. Anyways, next questions. What about crypto payments for the merch store? As soon as I find a way to have a payment processor that accepts that, which is kind of difficult for customized merch. It is something I want, but I haven't really found a good provider to do that. If somebody knows of a good provider to do that, be sure to let me know in the comments below and I'll take a look at it. Because yeah, I would like people to be able to go to the merch store and just pay with crypto. That would be nice. Main reason I've kind of stuck with Printify and my current manufacturer is because they actually provide pretty decent quality for the price. People who've actually gotten the shirts, you may have noticed that it's actually a fairly nice thick shirt. It's not one of those cheap thin shirts that's just kind of loosely printed on. These shirts will actually last if you fall down on the ground and stuff like that. And plus they let me actually print my logo inside the shirt collar, which I just kind of think is cool. A lot of other manufacturers just don't let you customize on that level. But yeah, if anybody knows a way that I can keep the high quality and keep the high level of customization that I currently have in the merch store, while also allowing crypto payments, feel free to let me know. And then there's the next question, which is kind of a big one, which is the question of how my health is doing. So yeah, unfortunately I'm kind of suffering from an ailment that has doctors a little bit perplexed. The good news news is we know it's not cancer or anything fatal, but it does eat away at my time. That's kind of why you might have noticed I've cut out the quick rants and been focusing more lately on the larger videos. It's easier on me if I cut the fluff, but I do believe we're pretty close to figuring out what's actually wrong, and I'll be fine sometime next year. But I do want to kind of apologize to people who have DM'd me with various propositions or any kind of potential sponsors or even old sponsors. I just haven't been able to keep up with those things, the clerical tasks, and all the sort of buzzwork behind my channel, simply because I am currently limited on what I can do each day. Which then kind of leads up to the next question. Will you be doing live content? The answer is yes, and I had actually planned to start up doing some live content a few months ago. The only reason it didn't happen is really just my health. That's it. But on the bright side, that means that you'll know that I'm doing better when I actually do start doing live content, because that is pretty much my current plan. As soon as I'm feeling better enough that I can start working 10, 14-hour days again, I'll look into things like either starting a podcast or doing a live stream once a week, things like that. But for now, it's just kind of on the back burner. But anyway, now for something a bit more cheerful and positive. It is time for the LibRight wins of the year. Something I'm considering should just be a normal thing for Christmas. Christmas in general is supposed to be a positive and uplifting time, a time you just kind of spend with your family and chill out and forget about your problems. And instead, just to spend time with your family and reflect upon what went right. And the first thing that went right was that Kamala Harris lost. I believe it's more important to phrase it as Kamala Harris losing rather than Trump winning, because it's actually better, even though it's technically the same thing. Kamala Harris was a terrible candidate with a terrible, completely incoherent platform that could be summarized as use the government to do everything, Ma interventionism, Project 2025, Orange Man bad, which is stupid. She ran entirely on these sort of pseudo-socialist policies and fear-mongering over her opponent. And yes, I did actually give it an honest rundown. For anyone new to my channel, I actually did do an honest assessment of Kamala Harris's platform as one of my videos. And it was bad. It was really, really bad. But also more importantly, Kamala Harris losing is a very nice repudiation of the kind of entitlement mindset that DEI tends to propagate. There are people who are unironically trying to argue that if you didn't vote for her, you are sexist and racist, just completely ignoring the fact that her policy proposals were either non-existent at a time, which is bad, or after she had posted them, they were just bad. I mean, honestly, it was just kind of silly to see just how many people don't care about policy and were voting based entirely on identity politics. So it was nice to see that kind of childish thinking getting smacked down in the election. But another win is that they didn't get smacked down too hard. So yeah, it's actually kind of a LibRight win that Kamala Harris didn't lose by too much, because it's important to point out that we are correct about the lack of rational voters. The fact that she still got over 70 million votes shows just how many voters will vote based on reasons that are just entirely nonsensical and have nothing to do with what the candidate is actually going to do. I mean, there were a few unironic socialists who actually believed that her ideas were good, which of course doesn't make them rational either, but it's besides the point, which is that a lot of people really will just vote based on dumb propaganda and fear-mongering. And so that just kind of vindicates those of us who have been pointing out for a very long time that it's better to put economic action in the hands of people rather than having the government do everything and we vote on what the government does. People don't actually vote for good policy there. All it does is just balloon the state. Anyways, the next win is that both our libertarian meme and our libertarian has undergone total Mises Caucus victory. It was already kind of happening in 2023, but now in 2024 the process is pretty much complete. And you might not care about Reddit, and in many ways I don't either. But it is actually still a pretty big win when you think about it. Reddit is for the most part a massive off-left echo chamber filled with global admins who abuse their position. And so winning on their turf is actually pretty huge. And it also just kind of goes to show how libertarian thought has successfully physically removed the sort of lib-left bow tie wearing pseudo-libertarians who are actually just boomer trash libs. They're just Democrats who have become disillusioned with the fact that the Democratic Party has moved more and more towards socialism over the years, but they're still functionally Democrats. They don't actually know anything about libertarian philosophy, and so them getting kicked out by those who do know is a very big win. It shows greater levels of cohesion and understanding within the libertarian movement. Mainly understanding why libertarianism is inherently kind of a right-wing thing. You can't have things like libertarian socialism, which is another win. I think more and more people are realizing that the whole libertarian socialist concept is based on some really bad reasoning mistakes, such as thinking that wealth use and wealth creation are the same thing, which they are not. Consumption is not the same thing as creation. You can't have your positive freedom without first creating it. And it's good to see that a lot of more people are catching on to why that is just a total grift and not libertarian at all. Every single person who claims to be a libertarian socialist, in fact, just practices Fabian socialism, where they just give more and more power to the state in hopes that that will fix the problems of the state. The government is corrupt, and the solution to that is more government. So yeah, people seeing through that more and more, very big win. Watching those people lose that argument, again, on off-left turf, was very, very satisfying. And speaking of echo chambers, another win of the year is Bluesky being a crap show. For those of you who don't know, Bluesky is really just a clone of X that has more censorship on it. So that way, people who have a significantly higher chance to suffer from a bad case of the hurt feels have a nice hug box safe space to run to. And it sucks. It's not getting anywhere near the level of growth that they were hoping that they would get. Even the people who've moved to the platform think that the censorship is ridiculous, because of course it is. It was already too much censorship on X, and so you make a new clone of X that has even more censorship based on subjective measures. Of course it's going to be bad. Nobody except excessive virtue signaling, prestige-seeking cathedralites actually enjoys that kind of discourse. And so you see a bunch of breadtube types move to Bluesky, only to find out that they don't actually like it. Oh gee, oh no, I got banned for a really stupid reason. Woe is the logical conclusions of my beliefs. Which is funny because Bluesky is being heavily astroturfed by the mainstream media. You have major outlets like CNN reporting to the masses that users of X are quitting and they will be going to Bluesky, and Bluesky is going to be the greatest thing ever. And it still fails, even with that massive amount of free publicity. The reality, of course, is just that the bureaucratic managerial class wants to trick you into getting onto a platform that they've designed so that they have more control over it. And most people are not falling for the grift. Headlines might say, oh, they have 10, 20 million new users, and that's not nearly enough. It's pretty obvious that it's just going to be a dumb echo chamber. I mean, even NBC is admitting it's not going so well. And that's how you know it's not going so well. And honestly, just in general, big tech censorship has slightly decreased this year. It's still not good. Shadow banning is still very much a thing on places like X. X still has too much censorship in my opinion. If you don't watch how you word things, you still get banned pretty quick. But things have at least gotten better. And honestly, seeing more competition is a good thing. Even if it's competition that is bad and we can just make fun of it, just the fact that it exists makes it harder for big tech abuses of power to go through. And so that's a good thing. It's good to see the internet regaining a little bit of its freedom back. Still nowhere near as based as it used to be in the early 2000s, which is honestly a bit of an unrealistically high bar. But it's at least better, which is something we can at least be grateful for. And a last final win I want to point out, which is something a lot of people might not think about, is the libertarian right embracing AI. This is a good thing. This is actually a very big win, and I'm not sure if people realize why. A lot of people from other philosophical positions or other ideologies or political stances or whatever are really irrationally afraid of AI. And yet those of us on the libertarian right, I have noticed, are significantly more likely to just accept it and go with it and use it and get used to it. And this is very important because it means we're winning an arms race that other people don't even realize is going on. Because the reality is, if you're tech savvy and kind of understand how AI machine learning algorithms work and how they've improved, you probably know that Pandora's box has been opened and there's no going back. AI is here to stay, and it is going to be behind a lot of our major technological advancements, at least within the next 10 years. Like it or not. It's already at the point where you can run a lot of it locally, which means that for the same reason that once something's on the internet, it's always on the internet, you're not going to get rid of AI, and it is going to keep improving, like it or not. There's a lot of Luddites out there who think that they can defeat the advancements of AI by feeding the algorithm junk data. And yeah, that might temporarily make some parts of it worse, but it's gonna get around it. It's like throwing pebbles into a lake to try and disrupt the flow. And so seeing a lot of people, especially Marxist types, just sort of throwing a cow fit over AI, and seeing libertarian-minded people having fun with it is a much better sign than people realize. Because the initial people who properly recognize AI as a powerful tool to be used, rather than something to be feared and regulated by the government, are going to be the people that win. And that's why it's so big. It's not just a current win, because honestly, in the current time as things are going, it's only just a slightly small win, but I see it as a very big future win. And that's what I want to leave you all with for this Christmas. Enjoy the rest of your day with your family and have some optimism for the future. So again, Merry Christmas to all. Feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you enjoy my content and want to spend some of that money you get for the holidays on supporting me, you can do so on either Ko-Fi, Subscribestar, or by just buying some merch. That is all. Till next time.